So number two is something I call ownership. So obviously there's typically one owner in the company or one ownership entity in the company. But we do know that if you are an owner of the company or there's multiple owners, that's where you get such great productivity. Is owners take such pride in what they're doing. They have the desire to go the extra mile. And if you have, like, say, family members that are in the company, they typically follow all in those same footsteps. It's like, hey, my name's on this company. But what if you have employees whose name is not on the company? How do you get them to take that ownership attitude? Well, ironically, what I have found is that accountability has a lot to do with ownership. In other words, if I go to my employees and I say, look, this is your part of the company. You own this. And then I give them some specific metrics, such as numbers that they are going to quote unquote own, and they're responsible for that. I have found that they will go way out of their way to make sure that they are doing their absolute best and going the extra mile to making sure that they're hitting or exceeding their numbers. Now, the other thing that I found with ownership is that I have to create the opportunity for input. In other words, I have to proactively ask for feedback from my employees and my trade partners for how we can improve the business. I don't want, yes, your company is structured as it is a dictatorship, um, but it doesn't have to feel like a dictatorship. Of course, as the boss, you make the final decision, but you also want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with talented people who are providing you valuable feedback, because that oftentimes will lead to the best decisions, not a decision that you're going to is a mistake and you're going to regret. And then the other thing that we did from an ownership standpoint is working with trades is that we created quality control checklists for every phase of our building. And if it was, say, a drywall trade, we gave them that checklist and we would have them do their own quality control. Then we would come back and we would actually do our own quality control check after they had done theirs. And if they consistently met or exceeded our standards, we would not only recognize them, but we might give a bonus. So as an example, I have a property management business, and my housekeepers, if you think about it, Diana, if you go and you check into a hotel or you're renting some sort of space, the worst thing that can happen to you is if you show up and the space is not cleaned properly. It's dirty, it's in shambles, it's not cleaned properly. So my housekeepers in my property management business are really my eyes. But my question to myself was, okay, when I go here, I really look at things critically from an ownership attitude. How do I get them to look at things critically as well? So what I did is I put together a quality control checklist for them, and then I told my housekeepers, I said, I am going to ask every single guest when they arrive to look at these things that are important and critique them. And if they can rate them a 5 out of 5, I'm going to give you a bonus. So now my housekeepers start to take an ownership attitude. My guests, they are part of the team as well. They're like impressed by saying like, hey, I really want to make sure that your experience is as great as possible. And I want to make sure by doing that that you have a clean place to stay while you're here. So now the guest knows that I have really prioritized cleanliness because that's their priority. And my housekeeper knows it's important. They take an ownership attitude towards this, and they get a bonus. So the guest doesn't have to worry about leaving a tip. I go ahead and I leave the bonus for them. It's a win-win-win situation.
Yeah, sounds like the keyword here that I'm hearing is clarity. So everyone knows what to do and with what and when to do it. So they have clarity on the task, on the outcome. So then things will happen.
Clarity is that's a very good term. We have a thing that I learned the hard way is that if you don't set expectations, your clients will set them for you. So I set the expectations as the owner. My employees know it, my trade partners know it, and in this case, my clients know it as well. And so everyone is operating on those same expectations. But you're right, there has to be clarity. So this is just, we're talking about some practical ways to create that clarity.